This week's video is about my 2026 colour palette, making a quilt for a friend, moving the boat, Bella's progress after her operation, and my new sewing machine. So let's go on inside, the fire's on as usual, and let's get warm. I've had a big fabric delivery this week. Well, it's big for me. It's 12 bolts of fabric. I do not know where I'm going to put them. If you had a look at the video a couple of weeks ago showing you the tour around the little boat, then you'll see that there's not a lot of space. This boat's rocking, by the way, and I think there must be a boat about to pass by or something. So yeah, if you think that the camera's wobbly, it is. The reason the camera was wobbling, I had to switch it off. My friend has just bought me some flowers. So isn't that lovely? Yeah, haven't been feeling too well today. And I've cooked her dinner a couple of times the last week. So yeah, she just bought me these just to say thanks. They're lovely. I'll put them in water later on. Right, back to the fabric delivery. So I've had 12 bolts of fabric delivered. These are Macawa solids. These are Spectrum solids. That's the range of them. And I've decided to do something a bit different this year. I've decided to have a colour palette for 2026. Now, I've never done this before, and I don't really know anybody else that's done it, but I thought it would help me get a bit more organised for my quilt patterns for 2026. I am behind. I'm trying to get all my patterns written up by early January, and it's the first week in December now. So I've got a lot of work to do. I've written 7 up. But there's still a lot to go. I'm planning on having a quilt pattern released every single month for next year. Now, this colour palette it's not going to be for every single thing that I do, but it's going to be for the majority of stuff. So I've got collaborations that I'm working on with other people, which is very exciting. I've got the Shipshawana retreat, which won't feature these fabrics. They'll feature some others. Yeah, so let me show you what I've got. I've made a sheet of the colour palette, and I think I'm going to put that on the website and perhaps write a blog about it. So look out for that, because I don't think I'll get that organised by the time this video comes out. So I've decided to go for 3 neutrals. So we've got this first one, which is the light's not brilliant in here, by the way, so I apologise for that. So that's a light grey. I can't remember what that one's called. But that's a really light grey, and I'm just going to put them over there. Then we've got a very, very pale blue here. I'm not going to take the wrappers off. I know that the whole video would be a lot better if I took the wrappers off, but I'm not going to at this time. So you can see the reflection of the lights and stuff, can't you? So we've got a pale blue here, and then I've got this cream. I think it might be antique white. I can't remember. I should have printed the leaflet off that I've created. So we've got that. These are my neutrals, and then I've gone for 5 brights. So you'll see these featured not in every single quilt. The first one, I'll show you the colour palette for the first one after I've done this. So this is a saffron. I love this, and that's in quite a lot of the new patterns actually. Then we've got a light pink, and I know that could go with the neutrals, but it won't do. It's going to feature in the quilts and not in the background. I've got this cerise, and I think this is called Spring, this one. Nice bright green. Let me just stack these up a bit better there. And then we've got this blue. I can't remember what this one's called. Has it got anything on the end of it? No. Yeah, so we've got a blue. So they're all the brights. And then I've got some deeper tones. So we've got a nice chocolate brown here. A deep red. So I'd say that's burgundy, but perhaps burgundy's a bit darker. I think this is grass green, which goes well with that other lighter green. And then I've got this darker blue. So these are going to look great together. Let me show you the colourway for the first quilt. So we've got the light pink, the cerise and the chocolate brown. So that's going to be the first colourway for the January quilt. It's going to be a very simple quilt. It's a lot of squares and a few half square triangles, and it'll come together really, really quickly. They're quite large squares. I can't remember the exact sizing of them, but I thought, well, let's get into January with a good simple project that will come together in no time at all. One of the things that I am going to do for next year is provide kits to sell. And I am thinking of actually doing pre-cut kits. So I'll cut all the squares out for you and then you can just start sewing. Let me know what you think of that idea. Right, I better go and figure out where all this lot's going to go now. Wish me luck. I promised you a look at my new sewing machine, and look, here we are. Janome have very kindly loaned me this lovely new machine. It's the Memorycraft 9480 QC. It's got lots of new features that I've never had before, like this great light that comes out, and this is perfect for sewing on the boat in the winter evenings. I'll be showing you more of this sewing machine in the coming weeks. My friend Pammy Jane gave me this 10-inch square pack. It's her Wild collection and there's 42 pieces in here. I'm going to make a quilt for a friend that is not very well at the moment. So let's just open this up and I'll show you some of these leopard prints. I absolutely love this collection, and to be honest, I've been sat on this fabric for a little while because I wasn't sure what to do with it and I just didn't want to open it up. So let's just have a look at some of these. So I don't know if there's 2 of each one. Looks like there is, yeah. Some gorgeous colours here. I have used, there was a 5-inch pack that she gave me and I have used some of that. And also a jelly roll. She's been very generous. Pammy Jane has. So thank you, Pammy. Yeah, so there's lots to... Oh, look, there's more. There's lots of greys. Different variations of greys and blacks in this pack. Well, that's quite funky. So I think I'm going to pair it with this black. I've got a few of these odd bits of black fabric. So let's see what I'm going to make. I cut some 5-inch squares in black and I'm going to, or what I have done already is framed it with the leopard print. But then I thought, oh, this is just not going to sit right together. So I got the 5-inch pack that Pammy Jane had given me, and I'd used some of these anyway, so I got those, and this is what I've made. These are the blocks that I've made. So there's a leopard print in the middle and black around the outside, and then opposite black in the middle and leopard print around the outside, and I've made them in all sorts of different colours. So these look great put together. I've put half of it together already, which I'll show you in a minute. To make this block you will need a 5-inch square, and then I've got one of the pieces of fabric here from the pack, and I am going to cut this into 4. So I'm using a 2.5-inch wide ruler. And I'm going to use 3 of these. So we're going to cut this one in half. So that at the minute is 10 inches, and we're just going to cut it down to 5 inches by 2.5 inches. So we've got 2 of those. These are 2.5 by 10 inches. We will trim these off later on. But for now, we're going to go and sew these together like so. So this is the first stage. Normally I would go and press those if I've got lots of electricity. And then this is the second stage. So you get your other 2 strips there, and you're going to sew them to this unit in the middle here. So we've got our finished unit. This needs to be cut down. Well, I've cut mine down to 8.5 inches. So I'll just get that trimmed and it'll be ready to add to the rest of them. And there we go. So simple to make. Great one for using your layer cakes or your 10-inch squares of fabric that you might have. So let me know if you give it a go. This is what it looks like so far. I've got 3 rows here. You can't see all of it. But it looks great together. So simple and effective. And these blocks are, I think they're about 8.5 inches. So this has come together really, really quickly. I'm just going to do 5 blocks by 5 blocks, so that'll be what, 40ish, 42ish inches, I would have thought, square, which is going to be perfect for a lap quilt. I've not really thought about how I'm going to quilt it yet. I don't know when to put some like minky on the back, is that the right word? But I've never used that before, so yeah, I don't really know at the minute, but it has to be nice and warm and cuddly. That's the main thing. Let's look at boat life, but first I must tell you about Bella's progress. Her operation went really well. She's making great progress, but I haven't taken a video of her because she's had the whole of her back leg shaved. It's really bruised, and I found it very upsetting when I went to the vets, so I didn't want to distress anybody or upset anybody. So hence this is an older video of Bella just chilling out around the boat. This week we moved the boats, so I think I said last week that we are at our most northern point before we turn around. So we had to go, I don't know, a couple of miles up the canal to Stoke Bruin to turn the boats around. Well, we just turned one boat around actually, so we left the little boat where it was, and here you can see Mr. Perks on the back of the boat, just going through the bridge. When he set off, it was pretty dry. So Mr. Perks was moving the boat. I went to do the cars with my friend, and she dropped me back off at Stoke Bruin. So, yeah, it's all a bit of a logistical nightmare sometimes with cars and boats, but we always figure it out. There's a winding hole at the bottom of the Stoke Bruin lock flight. It's absolutely chucking it down with rain. I don't know if you can see it there on the canal. We both got absolutely soaked. So I don't know if I've said before, but our boat that we live on is 62 foot long. And in that we've got the front deck, which I normally decorate for summer, but now for winter it's got coal in there, wood, kindling, that kind of thing, all the practical stuff that we need to keep warm. We've got a lounge, so you step right into our lounge, and then we've got an open plan kitchen. We've got my old sewing area, which is now sort of an office for me. We've then got the bathroom, our bedroom, and a back cabin, which is like a storage area. And that's what makes up our 62 foot of boat. Our boat is classed as a trad stern, so a traditional stern narrowboat. You can see on the front of the boat that we've got what is called a cratch. So this is invaluable at this time of the year. It gives us shelter in the rain and keeps everything dry. You can see Mr. Perks here doing all the hard work while I'm stood getting absolutely soaking wet filming him for this video. He's mooring the boat up, so now we can get water, empty our rubbish, sort the loo out, empty the loo, and just do all the stuff that we need to do on boat moving day. The hose pipe is out, the water is being filled up, and now we need to go in and put the kettle on and have a cuppa and get warm and get changed. We've filled up with water now. The bins are emptied. We've got rid of our rubbish. We've got rid of our toilet waste. And now we're heading back down south to pick the little boat up and move further along. But I thought I'd just show you some of the beautiful scenery that we get to see. We passed a boatyard on the way, so we stopped for provisions. So we got a bit of diesel, and you can see there the little boat is sort of like bobbing along on the back as we're mooring up. We've now got to our new mooring place, and here's little Sydney. He always has to get out first and get onto the towpath. We've decided to breast the boats up at this mooring. We don't always do this, but the canal is nice and wide, and we've got friends that are joining us later on. So we want to make sure that there's enough space for them to be able to moor up. So breasting up means that we put both the boats side by side, and here you can see Bri is pulling the little boat alongside our main boat that we live on. The boats are tied together, and when I want to go to work, I just step onto the back deck of the main boat and over onto the little boat. You can see how wet and muddy the towpath is. It's one of the things that I really dislike about boating in the winter. Next week's video, I've got a real treat for you. The coal boat turned up and they kindly let me video them. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.